Hello and welcome, I'm Kayla Scrivener, and I would not normally be filming this video, but when you end up early in a gala in, snow, you're like, maybe I don't want to go inside and wait awkwardly until my friends show up, so I'm going to film a YouTube video, because that's what they do. So the month of February, I did not read a ton. I read parts of The Secrets of Heartwood Hall, which is going to probably be one of my favorite books of the year. I think Kitty Lumsden is just such a fantastic author. And it's one of those things where I knew she was such a great reviewer and she talks so intelligently about things, but her prose are beautiful in a way that just catches you. I had to stop because I would write down every single sentence and I was like, I can't do that. And I barely ever have that experience outside of classic literature. So I think that the horror and the gothic, there's the thing when she's describing this house, her ability to set scene, smell, the way something looks, for instance, she's telling this, and then she's talking about this kind of decrepit house that has this estates and stuff where she's becoming a governess, and parts of the description talks about how there's this faded yellow paint and stuff, but then there's these bright spots where large portraits used to hold. That fully shows the imagery, and she's great at doing character development and letting you in on the different characters and dynamics, but also having these beautiful moments of scenery and descriptions of sound, and then horror where you're just on your edge. And I have so many thoughts, I have so many pages of notes, and I cannot wait to review it. And I'm overwhelmed at the thought of reviewing it because I know it's one of those books that's so hard to concisely say what you feel. And yeah, I'm so excited for it to be released across the world. I read Suly, which is a picture book about a girl whose skin is midnight and it's much darker than the rest of her family, especially her sister and her mother. And it's this beautiful affirmation about being a Black woman and being a Black girl and loving your skin. I kind of wish it went into this kind of moon, sky, sister, white and dark must exist together. And I honestly would prefer it not to be that way because Black people exist and they don't need a consolation reason and stuff like that. I don't know. It is obviously done by a Black lady and it's illustrated by Vashti Harrison, one of my favorite authors. She does a lot of the leaders in Black literature and women across the world, and I love her series. So I'm sure that they knew what they were doing. I was more sensitive about being I would have just loved being you're beautiful without needing a beautiful consolational thing. And then I read Bad Cree by Jessica Jones. I will continually call her Jessica Jones. I read Bad Cree by Jessica Johns, and she is just a wonderful author. I really loved it. Again, these beautiful moments of horror with these beautiful characters. She's a Cree woman who grew up in rural Alberta. After Cookham passed away, she really just wanted to get out and she moved to Vancouver, which is, probably a 15-hour drive. She is being haunted by these terrible nightmares. And eventually she ends up going home, and her sister has also passed away a few years and she didn't go home or pick up the line when her mother called when her sister died. So there's just a lot of trauma and a lot of grief going on, and it illustrates these things. It is also beautiful. Someone pointed out the fact that there is pretty much no men in this book, and it's just lovely. Obviously there can be men in books, men are fine, but just having a story in which yeah, her dad exists and it's not a tragedy about her dad not being there, but he's not involved as much. They love him, but he's not the center character when her mom and her aunts and her grandma and her sisters and her cousins are all just so close. And it's just so wonderful to have these characters that just love each other so much. And there's some moments of real horror that terrified me, and then there were some beautiful moments of sisterly. And whenever I read Canadian books, I just feel seen and happy and loved, and I just felt really happy to be alive and really happy to be Canadian, and then also to be ingesting this literature. It made me really happy. And then the other book that I read, that I also mostly read in January, I did not read a lot in February on its own, but this is Foster by Claire Keegan, and it is a novella, and it's about this young Irish girl who is being put with more richer, more middle class farmers, and they don't have any children at the present. And she is from this large family that there's not a lot of love, there's a lot of harshness, and her mother is having another child. And it's just this really touching scene about fatherhood and motherhood and connectivity and family and stuff, with some secrets underneath. And I thought it was good. I would like to compare it to small things like these, but it didn't wow me with the same emotions and stuff. I thought it was interesting and well written and had a really interesting voice, but it didn't hit me in any of emotion. She does scenery and character quite well, and slow thing. And I think I wouldn't want it any longer because it is so slow paced, but I also kind of wanted to know more what happened. The ending is quite wide open. So yeah, I literally made no notes on any of these books, and these are just some of my thoughts, but hopefully this is a February wrap up. You do the peace sign when you're on anything uncomfortable, when I'm in this fancy dress coat and dress and stuff. Anyways, I will talk to you next time. I would love to hear what you are reading, what you are writing, what you are enjoying. What was your favorite book in February? Do you not read when it's so snowy and gross outside? And I'll see you next time.